Hey guys, so we're going to be talking about the brand new Hermes blushers. These are their Rose blushers, their Silky Blush Powder, and I have all 8 shades here. I also have their brush, and I do have one of their lip enhancers. So Hermes was, if you guys watched my haul video that went up yesterday, or the day before yesterday, they sent over the blush brush, they sent over one of the lip enhancers for me, and they sent me one of the blushes. So when I opened up the box and saw the contents, and of course was beyond amazed, I did want to try all of the shades. So I did purchase the rest of the blushes from Saks. I think it was Saks that had them all. So we have all 8 shades here to play with. I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be cheek swatching and arm swatching all of these for you, and, you know, talking a little bit about, you know, the texture and all of that stuff. And I'll be giving you my thoughts, my first impressions thoughts, because I haven't tried these yet. I'll be giving you my first impressions thoughts at the end of this video. So definitely stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and start with just a little bit of information on these blushes. So Hermes came out with a makeup line starting with lipsticks last year, and they mentioned how they were going to be kind of slowly expanding this line. So this is essentially like their second second big release. So lipsticks and now blushes, which I think is a great follow-up to lipsticks. Again, there are 8 different colors. These compacts, actually, let me show you the whole packaging situation. So they come in the typical Hermes box. All of the blushes come in an orange Hermes box, and these slide out, and the blush is on the inside. The packaging was designed by Pierre Hardy, who also designed the lipstick cases and who is a fantastic designer, very mod. And here is what the blushes look like. So the blush and the mirror, they're like offset in the compact, and it just, that little touch I find makes the just the aesthetic of the blush really, really beautiful and modern. And these are refillable, so there is a little pinhole in the back where you can push the pan out and replace it. And I was just on the Hermes site, and they talk about how these pinks are inspired by like silk fabrics, and what they did for the pan embossing, it's very, very faint, but they wanted to make the pan look like silk twill fabric, which has like that very, very kind of light, like almost like ribbing effect to it. So you can see it when you look at the pan up close, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it through the camera because it is very, very subtle. And then there is Hermes embossed towards the bottom of the pan as well. So these are made in Italy and have a 12-month shelf life. I will say that these compacts, they feel okay. They're not exceptionally heavy, and that can be good or bad. Depending on your preference. I think it's a personal preference. I personally really like heavy packaging. I just feel like it feels really, really good in the hand. But I do know that when I pack a lot of heavy makeup, or if I throw a makeup bag into my purse and it has a lot of heavy makeup in there, I do curse it. I don't like it when I'm traveling, but when I'm home and just using makeup, I do prefer like a heavier kind of compact. So I did just want to mention that. So these retail in the US for $77, and I think the refills have started to become available already. So just wanted to mention that, but let's go ahead and just jump into the swatching. So I am going to do an arm swatch and then a cheek swatch of all of these blushes. And we'll just talk about each color as I come to them. And then at the end, I'll show you my arm with all of the swatches so you can kind of compare. Oh my God, I have the dropsies today. So I've already dug my thumbnail into this pan. Oh my goodness. Anyway, here is the first color. This is number 19, Rose Abricot. And here is an arm swatch of it. It is described as a velvety orange pink, like a ripe apricot in a ray of sunlight. So I am going to be using the Hermes blush brush that they sent over to me to apply these blushes. So this is a lacquered wooden handle. There is this brushed metal ferrule here, and these are dyed goat hairs. And this brush was made in France. And it is angled, And upon touching this, I don't think this is nearly as soft as like the Japanese handmade brushes. And again, I mentioned this in my haul, but this, yeah, it definitely does not feel as soft as the Sony G brushes, Chikuhodo, Hakuhodo, Wangas, Refer, all of those brushes feel much softer than this particular brush. But I'm gonna give it a shot. So I'm gonna go into Rose Apricot, picks up product nicely. Oh. There is a fragrance to this. It is the same fragrance that they use in the lipstick, which, as I understand it, is an Hermes, like an existing Hermes fragrance. I'm not familiar with Hermes fragrances, so I can't tell you which one, but apparently it's one of their fragrances. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and apply. Oh, and just to let you know, I have powder foundation down. I have the La Mer powder foundation down. I don't have any bronzer. I don't have any highlight. So these are described to have a demi matte finish. There is quite a bit of kick up in the pan. Again, I think it could be this brush a little bit because, like I said, the hairs in this brush are a little bit on the coarser side. They're not like irritating my skin, but I'm not surprised at seeing the kick up here from this brush. So there is Rose Apricot. So I'm going to be using a microfiber towel between blushes to clean off my blush brush. All right, I was just sitting here debating whether I wanted to do like both cheeks with one color. I think because there's 8 blushes, and please forgive me, I'm going to do one color per cheek because I think that's all I can stand to remove my makeup and redo it for the cheek swatches. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. This is number 23, Rose Blush. And here is an arm swatch. This is described as a fresh pink blended with coral for a healthy glow. So here is number 23, Rose Blush. And I definitely can see the pink in this more than the apricot, which was definitely much more coral. All right, blushes removed. Let's move on to the next two. The next color I have here is number 28, Rose Plume. And here it is in the pan. Here is an arm swatch of it, and it is described as a soft and delicate pink, a misty watercolor refreshed with a subtle hint of blue. So it does look, at least to my eye, it does look a little bit more cool toned than the other two that we swatched. There is Rose Plume. Next up we have number 32, Rose Pommette, and this is the one that Hermes actually sent to me. Looks like a brighter pink. And here is an arm swatch. And this one is described as a bright, radiant pink evoking the rosy-cheeked glow of emotion. Here is Rose Pommette number 32, and this is 28, Rose Plume. Next up we have shade number 45, which is called Rose Ombré, and here is an arm swatch of that. It is a subtle celestial pink in chiaroscuro between shade and color. So there is Rose Ombré. Next we have shade number 49, which is Rose Tan, and here is an arm swatch of that. It is described as a lightly tanned and golden pink, like skin warmed by the sun. So there is Rose Tan, and this was Rose Ombré. Next we have number 54, Rose Nuit, and here is an arm swatch. It is described as a deep and mysterious pink illuminated by a touch of moonlight. I'm actually switching up brushes for these last two. I just want to play around with other brushes other than this one. So I've got my Chikuhodo. This is the KZ04 cheek brush. So here is Rose Nuit applied. All right, and last but not least, we have number 61, Rose Feu. And this is described as a purple hibiscus, fiery, intense, illuminated with a hint of carmine. And for this cheek, I'm trying the Refer number 5 blush brush. And here is Rose Feu. All right, so those are all the blush swatches. I am going to try this Rosy Lip Enhancer, and then we'll get into my thoughts on the blush brush and everything, and also talk about this a little bit more. So, comes in the orange box, and it has the little dust bag for the lipstick, and it's got a light pink bottom here, so pretty. And here is the lip enhancer. I'm gonna remove what I have on my lips, and we're gonna apply the lip enhancer. So I have it in the shade number 30, Rose d'été, and there are 3 shades all together. There is one that's a little bit more peachy. It's number 14, Rose Abricot, and number 49, Rose Tan, which is a little bit more of a cooler kind of pink. So this Rose d'été, so these are described as fine and a delicate waxy finish. The rosy lip enhancer melts over the lip, leaving a hint of transparent pink and a matte luminosity. Lips are delicately smoothed with a soft focus effect. Sesame seed and raspberry seed oils help soften and nourish. I'm definitely very curious about the soft matte finish. The only other soft matte lip products I've played with are those NARS ones, so I am curious about this one. So there is the lip enhancer. I like the color, the tint of this that it leaves. It's almost color changing. It's kind of turning into that deeper kind of mauvey color that I feel like all color changing lipsticks do. Let me see if it says anything about this. It doesn't, and they do have different shades, so maybe I'm just imagining things, but that is the shade for number 30, Rose d'été. It does feel very, very comfortable on the lips, but whenever I have a matte finish, this is a personal thing completely, but whenever I have like a matte, soft matte, demi-matte kind of finish on my lips, I just want to put lip gloss on, and I know that would defeat the purpose of something that is supposed to be so nourishing all on its own. So maybe it's just something I need to get used to, but I do like the shade. And I do like the way it feels. And it does have the same fragrance that the blushes and the other lipsticks have. I can't taste it though, I can just smell it, which is a good thing. All right, as for the blushes, let me talk about this blush brush first. I don't like this blush brush. I think it's very, very beautiful. I think they did a wonderful job designing it. But the actual brush, if I were to rip this ferrule off and just talk about the brush, it's not that great. I think it is a little bit too coarse. When I dip my brush into the blushes with this brush, I feel like I just get so much kick up because these hairs are a little bit coarser. So when I'm going into the blush, there's just a lot of powder. It just sort of breaks up the blush a little bit too much. I didn't get it. I didn't get as much kick up when I used this Chikuhodo brush or when I used the Refer, which is, I would say, a little bit in between in terms of like softness. It's like in between these two because this is squirrel hair, I believe. So it's very, very soft. And then this is undyed goat hair. So I don't really like this blush brush. I'm not impressed by its performance. I'm not impressed by the actual hair. It just doesn't feel that soft. So those are my thoughts on the blush brush. The blushes I think are very, very beautiful. I think they are incredibly soft. I think the color range is beautiful. I think they blend out nicely and I think they do build up nicely. What I don't like about them is I wish they didn't have a fragrance. That's not a total deal breaker for me. It's just a preference. I don't like fragrance. So I'm gonna make a bold statement here. So I liked using these blushes. I thought the experience was lovely. I like the colors that they have. They applied beautifully or whatever. They remind me of the Laura Mercier Color Infusion blushes. So I don't think that these are necessarily that special. I don't feel like I put these on my cheeks and my entire face was transformed. The color, again, they're very, very beautiful and they perform really, really nicely. But when I think of something that Hermes is gonna come out with, I think like, I wanna be wowed. I wanna put on this blush with like one swipe and I want like angels to sing from the heavens. The effect that I get on my cheeks, I find to be very, very similar to the Laura Mercier blushes. But if you are an Hermes collector, I mean, the packaging is really beautiful. The colors are beautiful, they perform beautifully. There's absolutely nothing wrong with with these blushes, except for maybe the fragrance. But there's nothing wrong with these blushes. I just don't think they're very unique and very special. So anyway, let me know if you have any thoughts down below in my comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.